Today, I'm showing you how to make arguably the best ultralight alcohol backpacking stove out there. So don't go anywhere. What's up guys? Joe here from Backcountry Treks. This channel is all about backpacking, hiking, camping, and sharing tips and tricks to help better your experience while out on trail and in the backcountry. So, if you haven't guessed already, the stove I'm talking about, weighing in at only 0.9 ounces or 26 grams, is the always popular Fancy Feast or Cat Can stove. This thing kicks butt. So let's get right into it. Alright, so here's the list of items you'll need to start this project. Number 1, a cat can. This is not Fancy Feast brand, but it'll work just the same. Tomato paste can. Material known as carbon felt. You can get this in the plumber section of Home Depot or Lowe's. A pair of shears able to cut through the tomato paste can. Punch or a drill bit will also work just the same if you don't have a punch. Preferably a fine tip Sharpie for marking. And a tape measure or ruler. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is obviously empty the contents of both containers. Rinse them out, clean them real good, and remove the labels. The next thing I want to point out is on the cat can stove, there's a sharp lip right here that goes around where you peel the top off. Go ahead and take the back edge of a butter knife or, something and smooth that over and push that down so that it's no longer sharp. Alright, so that lip is now smoothed over to where I can run my finger around it and it's no longer sharp at all. Next thing you want to do is from the top of the can, measure down exactly 2 1/4 inches and make a mark all the way around. It usually falls right in one of these grooves, which is really convenient. I got that measurement from a channel I subscribe to called Paleo Hiker MD. He has a really great channel full of good information on alcohol stoves. He makes a whole bunch of different kinds. So if you want to check him out, I'll leave a link in the description box below to his channel if you want to really dive into some of these alcohol stoves. He's done a lot of different testing with, different cut lengths of how much you'd want to stick out of the top. 2 1/4 inches works the best for the height in which your pot sits on top of in relationship to where the flame comes out of the can. So as I said, that mark falls right in one of those grooves, conveniently enough, and I just went ahead with my fine tip Sharpie and just made a mark all the way around that. The next step is to, and this is a very important step, you want to make sure that this cut, when you cut around this line, is as perfect as you can make it, because that cut is going to dictate how flat this sits. So if your cut is a little bit off angled, your cook pot, when you put on, is also going to sit off at that angle. So make sure that you take your time with that cut and be really as precise with that as you can. Once your can is cut down to 2 1/4 inches, go ahead and on the bottom, cut a little slit there and a little slit there. And what that allows for is the alcohol or fuel source you're using to seep out and saturate the carbon felt. Also around the top, this is where you would punch a hole using a drill bit or a punch, whatever you have, one there and one on the other side. And what that allows for is breathability. Once you put your cook pot on top of there, it'll prevent that flame from snuffing out. Then you want to go ahead and cut your carbon felt. Cut a strip at 7 inches long by 1.5 inches wide. Again, take your time. It doesn't have to be completely perfect. It's a little bit stretchy and you have a little bit of play in this, but take your time and just do the best you can with that. A pair of kitchen scissors will work fine to cut this stuff. So once that's all done, we're almost there. You're going to take that carbon felt, wrap it around the bottom, and then when it's brand new until it breaks in a little bit, it's a little bit tricky to stuff in here, but hold that tight and just kind of work that inside of that cat can. Hold it, twist it, make sure it's fully seated. You might have to do it once or twice. Again, like I said, it'll break in a little bit and become easier once you do it a few times, but One more thing I want to point out is take a butter knife or a spoon or fork, whatever, and stuff this down just underneath this lip right here. If you don't, you'll get all kinds of weird burn coming off the top of that. So you want that carbon felt to be stuffed just underneath this lip. Once that's done, it's complete. We'll put this thing to the test, see how it works, see how quick it boils cold water. And yeah, love this thing. And there you can see now I have that worked just below that lip. That will help with a better burn. So what I use for my fuel source is this denatured alcohol. You can get this at Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, any hardware store. Good stuff. And to be efficient with how much I'm using, I will use this. This is an old top of a medicine container. And I measure out just under 30 milliliters there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but just about there. And that'll give me enough to boil 2 cups of water, which is about the most you'll need for most dehydrated meals or for 2 servings. So that way I'm not wasting fuel and get enough to get that water to a boil. So let's put it to the test. All right, I have 2 cups of water here from the sink, making sure it was nice and cold to be, you know, as accurate as I can as if you were getting it from a stream or a river or whatever, which more often than not you do. So we're gonna go ahead and light this, start a stopwatch, and see how long this takes. You can light it at the wick. Let it bloom. There we go. It's crackling a little bit because it's a brand new wick, but it'll break in a little bit. So there we have a nice bloom. Put this on. Start my timer. I was a little bit behind on this, so about 5 minutes and 40 seconds this was to a rolling boil. So that's pretty good. And that's without a windscreen to help trap more of that heat, which might bring that time down a little, even a little more. As you can see, I still have a little bit of flame left. All right, this flame's starting to snuff out at around the 7.5 minute mark. So I could have used a little bit less fuel. That's why it's always good to test these out when you're done with them. But yeah, there you have it, the Fancy Feast stove. Guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, hit that like button and consider subscribing. I want to thank you again for joining me here on Backcountry Treks, and I will see you on the next one.